found the Texas Steampunk Connection, your source for steampunk event information in the great free state of Texas.
We also discuss books, films, comics, and games.
Also, we enjoy visiting with the local steampunk luminaries.
I'm Flavio.
I'm Erika.
And I'm Thax,
your
hosts.
Thank you for tuning in, and now on to the episode.
Hello, welcome to Texas Steampunk Connection, Season 2, Episode 7. We are back once again.
And we're into April, right?
Yes, we are into April. April 9th to be exact.
Hi, April.
Well, yes, hi, April. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, I've been a few places. You've been a few places. We've read a few books. We have some things to talk about. Let's start off. Last weekend, I went to the Fan Expo up in Dallas. Not necessarily a steampunk event, but there was some steampunk going on. As I said before,
it was more of a geek convention or a fandom convention.
Yes, comic books, movies, the whole thing. You know, like big conventions that we have here. Well, the conventions we have here in Austin, or Comic Palooza.
You met some voice actors?
I met some voice actors. I met Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman from the animated series. He is the quintessential voice of Batman.
I saw pictures. He looks like a guy.
Yeah, he just looks like a guy. Yeah. I got his autograph just because. And Mark Hamill was there. I didn't get to meet him. And Alan Tudyk was there. I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah, because lines.
Yeah, lines were insane. It was a fun convention, but they had it kind of squashed down. They could have spread it out a little bit more because there was plenty more room in that building. You know, like convention centers have the big buildings and everything. They just shoved it all in a couple of areas, and the layout was a little bit need to be adjusted. I think a lot of crashing of lines.
But they did have a steampunk track.
Yes, there was the Sky Marshals. They were there. Now, the Sky Marshals, I think I mentioned them before because that was one of the reasons when I was going to this convention. They are a group of like-minded steampunkers. They have decided that they wanted to do something for charity. The man
That's cool.
Yes, the man who put them together.
He's a fellow. He's not in Texas.
No, he lives up north somewhere, and he unfortunately
said Kansas. That's what you told me.
I said that, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong.
Nobody comes from Kansas. That's crazy. Okay.
Anyway,
north of Texas.
Forget this. Yes, he's north. He doesn't live in Texas. There's a chapter in Dallas, the Sky Marshals. We met them at Steampunk November. They were there at Steampunk November.
Yeah, I remember the Sky Marshals. They were putting people in jail.
Yes, it's jail for charity. Basically, $1 a minute. If you want to contribute to charity and you want to put a friend in jail, you talk to them. I used to see these. This used to happen back in the old days when I was going to the Star Trek conventions. The Klingons were doing this. I don't remember if the Klingons were doing it for charity, but they were putting people in jail.
I remember this sort of thing at old fandom conventions at like colleges and things, fundraisers for local clubs or what have you. Yeah, this is a sort of an age-old tradition. Right,
and the Sky Marshals have picked it up, and they were actually asked to be at this convention by the people running the convention. They didn't just say, hey, can we be there? They were called and asked to be there. Their founder was there, the captain of the Dallas chapter was there, and several other people were there. They're really nice people. They also ran a couple of panels. One of them actually had the Welcome to Steampunk, or Steampunk, everything you want to know, but we're afraid to ask, and they had Steampunk, where do we go from here?
Why would you be afraid to ask about steampunk?
I don't know, but people were afraid to ask.
Okay, all right. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid to ask if you are. One of the things I noticed about a bunch of panels is like they have them open forums. You know, it's like they're hoping for questions from the audience. The problem is if there's nobody in the audience or people are afraid to ask questions, then things get to slow down. So I mean, it's my opinion that you should have some kind of presentation at least, because I mean they're like, okay, we don't want to be up here and teach a class and preach to you. Well, you may not want to do that. You should probably be prepared to do that, because I think some people go to panels thinking that's going to happen to them anyway.
Is that the kind of panel that you saw at?
They had the open forum. Let's ask us, talk to us.
And nobody talked to them.
Very few people did. I contributed the best I can. I mean, it was still a really decent panel. One of the panels, they have YouTube shows. They're like maybe 15-20 minutes long. There's a place called Cowtown up there where he's from. And it's basically it's an old west town, and they filmed it there. I imagine it kind of looked something like, how we have this farm place up here with all the buildings?
That's Pepperidge Farm. No, that's not right.
Well, one of those.
Pioneer Farm.
Pioneer Farm.
Right.
So it kind of looked like Pioneer Farms, but more Western.
Thank you, Erika.
And of course, it was really a very low budget film, of course. But they're not professional actors, but it was still really entertaining. I enjoyed them. They have like several episodes that you can find them on the YouTube if you look for Steam and Shadow Productions, I believe is what I'm told.
You can link them
if I can find them.
We'll find them. We'll link them in the YouTube.
From their explanation, from him talking about it, it took forever for them to get them edited and processed, like a year or two, because he said he admits you live in this is one of those live and learn kind of situations when you're filming filming something and it's supposed to be at night, don't film it in the middle of the day, because the editors, or if you have people who even know what they're doing, it's still really difficult to make it look like it's nighttime when you film something in the middle of the day. Makes sense, right?
I suppose, but if you film it at night, it's dark.
True. That's where fancy lighting comes in, I'm assuming.
I don't know how any of that works.
I'm not a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were still really interesting, and really interesting films, and I'll find them and link them. But I mean, I think there needs to be more panels. I think we could do a panel.
We've sat in on a few quote unquote panels at conventions that were more like lectures, or even worse, as you mentioned, sort of here's some people who are going to talk ad nauseum about whatever it is they're doing, kind of like we do on the show.
This is true, yes, but we don't have people staring at us other than us.
Thank God for that. But we've also, we've seen a few good panels, and the difference seems to be there's more advanced planning. They've gotten a breakdown of what they want to talk about. They've got visual aids, probably a handout for what they are trying to put together, that you could follow along and pick up what you've missed if you come in late. And having seen some of those, we could do something like that.
I think we could.
I think we talked about it recently, sort of putting together a welcome to Steampunk presentation. I don't like Steampunk 101 because it sounds like school.
Yeah. Welcome to Steampunk does sound more friendlier.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I think, I don't know, I'm not really afraid of being in front of people, because I like being on stage. I like being up in front and center, and I know I stutter a little bit here, but that's because, I don't know, we're free form in here, kind of thing.
Of course we are, right. But it might be fun and interesting. We might have something we can bring to the table. And,
I hope so. So we should probably work on that, put something together, and figure out how to present it to conventions and see how to get into it and accept it. That'd be something to do. So if anybody has any advice out there, let us know. How do you get into conventions and get your panels going in there?
Yeah, if you run a panel, tell us about it. We'd like to hear, what topics you cover, what you find interesting, what you've learned by doing panels in the past, what you find works best. Yeah,
and of course, if you're out there and you've gone to panels, what did you not like about them? What did you like about them? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
As well. Also, I think talking with the Sky Marshals, I think I may be joining them. I don't know. I think I may be joining them. I may or may not be getting a badge next time I see them. They may have forgotten about me by now.
Well, not recruited.
Well, I kind of asked, because they got a badge and everything, and they have no representation south of Dallas either. So
you've mentioned that Sky Marshals role-playing, their role is the hero, they are the law.
Yes, they are the law of the multiverse kind of thing, because there's so many pirates out there kind of thing.
There are a lot of questionable folk. So you're gonna be the sheriff of this. You're gonna clean up this one horse town.
I just want to have a nice badge. I mean, I'll help them out when they're around, but I don't think I can run this area on my own kind of situation. And I'm definitely we don't have enough people to have a decent meetup, let alone a posse of sheriff or. But
you can represent.
Around. I can represent. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
If they need contacts down here, I'll be their contact. Kind of thing. I'll be instead of the Lone Ranger, I'll be the Lone Marshal.
Okay.
Plus, I'll look good with the badge.
I shot the sheriff.
But you didn't shoot the deputy.
No.
Okay, I'm not going to be the sheriff. You've been awfully quiet over there, Erika.
Sorry.
No input about panels? I mean, I know you've been to a few panels with us.
I have been to a few panels. I don't consider myself to be an expert. I know what I don't like, and I know what I am bored by seeing, but I am not sure that I would be able to take from that and make something that people would want to see. I just know what I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen a variety. Like when I was in Seattle for that convention up there, one of the panels, I don't know if it was actual panel or a show, because they were just having a good old time up there. They were talking about mixology, and this is kind of, this is the kind of drink, and here's the recipe for this drink, and they spun this wheel, and it's like, okay, we'll talk about gin. This is what came up on the wheel, and it
was a topic of interest for you.
Oh yeah, very much so. But it was, like I said, it was very entertaining. They were just dancing around and having a good old time.
That's the trick, isn't it? To be entertaining.
Yep.
And not to be unentertaining.
That's the hard part, definitely. I mean, I think it has to be part presentation, part show, part information, kind of thing. It's just got to be a thing. It's got to almost be an act for the most part, I think.
Probably true. Yeah.
Just to make it really entertaining. But anyway, I think it's something we should look into. And once again, the Sky Marshals, they are a charity organization. His vision when he first started it up was he was looking like groups like the 501st, the stormtroopers out there, how they just grown and blew up and they became a big thing.
I've seen the 501st do exactly this sort of shit.
Exactly. And so he's hoping, to do. He doesn't imagine he's ever going to get as big as a 501st, obviously.
Well,
but he's hoping. He wants to have a presence in the steampunk community, something like that. The Sky Marshals, and like I said, in the Dallas X Fan Expo, they were raising money for the Epilepsy Foundation. Unfortunately, he did have a friend that passed away from epilepsy, from an epileptic attack. But that's not the only charity they contribute to. And that was just the one they chose for the Dallas. I'm sure if you can contact him if you want to donate, I'm sure he's willing to accept even without having to jail somebody, kind of thing.
Sure.
And they have a Facebook page, Sky Marshals, pretty easy to find.
We'll link that too.
I will link that for sure.
All right.
That's all I have to say about that for now. So we're going to move on. We have some reviews. We've had a couple of books read. We'll start with Erika. You read a book. You read the second part of that series that we talked about last time.
Right.
The Hungry City?
The Hungry City Chronicles by Philip Reeve. The second book is called Predator's Gold, and it's the continuing adventures of Tom and Hester as they go on to other cities. And what happens to them? Well, they find the city of Anchorage, which has been somewhat depleted by some sort of plague that they don't really explain. It's just somebody brought in some old tech from out in the field, and it made everybody sick. And so many people had passed away, and the city is just sort of almost on autopilot. Very few people still live in the city. And the young leader, her parents have passed away in the plague, and she's sort of, not sure what she should be doing. And she gets into her head that she's going to go and discover America based on the novels of a professor of sort of questionable scholarliness, and sort of spun out this tale, and it's sort of fantastical and not quite believable, but because she's young and because she wants to believe in it, she believes in it. And so they set off to find America across the ice, and Tom and Hester have sort of a lover spat because Hester gets jealous that Tom is spending so much time with the leader of Anchorage, and there's a little bit of kind of a love triangle, and it gets a little soap opera-y.
Where was Anchorage? Was it up north in the Alaska area, or just out there? And did it say anywhere where it could have been?
It's hard to place. You don't really get a good sense of geography.
Okay.
They're in the ice somewhere, and they're traveling sort of southward, and I get the impression that maybe where they're found is someplace in, like, I don't know, eastern Russia, and they come down sort of, I don't know, past where Alaska used to be, and into...
that's one thing I noticed when I read the first book. The geography wasn't very well.
Because the world has shifted, and there's been a new ice age, and there's God knows what. Anyway, it was an interesting story. Character of Anna Fang, you thought she was dead, but maybe she's not. There's kind of an open-ended thing, and
oh, good. I really like that character. And
well, you won't like what she's become.
Oh, okay. Don't tell me anymore.
Yes. Anyway, it was kind of soap opera-y, but it moved along pretty smartly, and there was some good action, and you get some more characters and other cities. First book talked about the traction cities, and then the stationary cities, and then the airship cities, and then in this one you find out that there's also an underwater city.
Oh, the underwater cities move around as well?
No, it does not.
Okay.
And it's run by sort of a really unsavory person, and you find out more about him later. I don't want to ruin it for you. So, but it's very, very interesting, and it's almost like the authors found a formula, because another city, like at the end of the first one, the city of London gets destroyed. At the end of this book, another city gets destroyed. So it's kind of formulaic a little bit, and then there's a little surprise ending at the end where you're like, yay! And if you're following the soap opera part, it's kind of, oh, how cute.
Does it leave it open for the next book?
Yes, definitely leaves it open for the next book. Anyway, it's still compelling. It's still interesting to me. I still want to find out what happens next.
Well, that's definitely a good recommendation if you want to continue reading what's going on, what's next. That's usually a good sign.
Especially since I know that you hate serial
I do. I hate
novels.
series books. I hate
You like
series.
one
and done.
standalone novels. You don't have to worry about which one comes first, and you don't like what is happening here generally.
No, I
So I
don't.
think this really speaks for it,
Yeah, it
that
does.
you're actually willing to keep pushing forward.
Right. Well, I mean, this story does stand alone. I mean, it reintroduces characters from the first book.
So you didn't necessarily have to read the
But
first
you would
book.
not have had to read it.
Okay.
It starts out, the city of Anchorage is in crisis. The young leader leads her people to what may be a conclusion. So you could read this book and you could be done with it. You could be, okay, so Freya Rasmussen has led her people to the promised land and everything is gonna be okay. But there's also more.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll probably read it as well, since I did read the first one.
Well, we all did.
Yeah, we all read it.
Yeah.
Thax, you read another book.
I have been reading a book.
Just about to finish it.
Some time ago, I guess near the end of last season, there was a Kickstarter we talked about for a few weeks called Addleton Heights by George Wright Paget.
Is this the one that he was trying to have like a party at a museum?
Yes, he was trying to have a book release party at a museum in Houston,
Right,
but
that didn't pay out. That didn't pan out.
the Kickstarter did not reach its goals, and they weren't able to do it. But I bought the book anyway,
He still released his book though. That's good.
and I got to the point where it was time to read it, and so I cracked this sucker open and went to it.
So what do you think of it? What is it? Is it good?
It's
Is it steampunk?
Yes, there are things about it that are steampunk that I would definitely say are of the steampunk aesthetic in the world, the way it's laid out. But the writing style, as I suspected when I read the description, it's much more detective noir.
Okay.
Sort of hard-boiled detective novel.
Okay. I've read a few like that.
And it took me a while to get into it. From the beginning, the main character, Mr. Kipsey, and the guy who's been dragging him all over town, I found them difficult to associate myself with, to really get into. And I just didn't like them. I couldn't.
Were they not
couldn't
nice
relate to
people,
them.
or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mr. Kipsey didn't seem like a particularly nice person. Mr. Heineman was definitely not a nice person. He wasn't supposed to be. But I didn't care about anybody enough to be concerned when people were aiming guns at each other and making threats and people being beaten up.
Were these two supposed to be the main characters, or
Yes.
the good guys, or the protagonists?
We'll say
or
main
something?
characters.
The protagonist.
I don't want to tell too much.
Okay.
But as the book continued and moved forward, and I slowly got to get under Mr. Kipsey's skin, because they don't really tell you a lot about his background or what motivates him up front. You kind of have to learn about it through the book, which is good. It's good writing, but it takes a little while for me to warm up to the character. But I did, and now I'm actually interested in him and the femme fatale that he's met.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good. You finally hooked you.
yeah, it's a very interesting world that they're navigating through.
So what is the world? Is it modern? I mean, is it Victorian time? Is it alternate dimension world? What is the world?
Post World War II. Post Civil War, Addleton Heights is this city that's built basically up on stilts of steel in the air. So it's held up by stilts and airbags.
Airbags?
Balloons.
Okay, just to keep it up there.
Right. And I'm sure that this doesn't make any sense using physics, but we just roll with it because that's
It's steampunk.
that's the thing.
They have balloons.
And so everyone is sort of stuck in the city. There's not convenient ways to move on and off except through airships. And the whole city is basically owned or maintained by, the man in the high castle, who is not a heroic character. And he's got big plans for the city that aren't very humanitarian.
Uh-oh.
And
Someone up at the top is being a bad guy?
Right. So Detective Kipsey has to figure out what's going on and stop the bad guys, right?
Of course, yes. That's what the heroes do.
So there's airships and cable cars and steam-powered vehicles and very Babbage engine type automaton robots and all sorts of groovy stuff. and
And a mystery going on that needs to be solved.
Right. And I'm near the end. I'm like in the last 100 pages. I think basically the mysteries are revealed, and now it's just a matter of the race to foil the big plan.
So overall, were you happy with your purchase?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I pushed through the first 100 pages of the book that I got into it, and now I'm
Yeah, I hate it when I buy a book and it starts off as a slog. You know, it's like, do I want to continue? Do I really want to finish this book? Because there have been a few books that I started reading and put down because I couldn't get past the first couple of chapters.
I think someone who is a faster reader than me would probably not have near the problems.
I don't think I'm not. If I'm any faster, it's not by much. I am not a very fast reader either. So you recommend the book?
I do.
And it did fall under steampunk.
It is steampunk, sort of.
Sort of.
I mean, the world is steampunk. The writing is
noir.
But
there's nothing wrong with that. I like noir.
I do too. Just it's good. Check it out. George Paget Wright is the author. It's put out by Grey Gecko Press, which is sort of micro publisher out of Houston.
I'll put a link up, obviously.
Worth checking out. Worth supporting.
So he's essentially a local Arthur, local Texas Arthur.
Right, but he's not. This isn't his first book. He's got some books under his belt. He's got some experience, and that shows. I think his writing style has definitely had some polish.
Awesome. Well, it's my turn.
Yay!
I didn't read a book. Well, I've read a book, but it wasn't a steampunk book. But right now I have this collection of comic books. Surprise, surprise, I'm a big comic book guy. This is one that I don't think I've talked about before, but it has been going around. It's been around for a long time. It's called Lady Mechanica. Joe Benitez, Lady Mechanica. It is...
I like his art.
It is a very beautiful book. The art in this book is beautiful. They are... What publisher is... I think it's Image. I don't see the publisher on here anywhere, but it doesn't matter. I'll find it. However, Lady Mechanica, there are several limited series. The first one is 5-book limited series, 6 if you count issue 0. And basically, she is a steampunk cyborg for the most part. Think of the Bionic Woman, where her legs got replaced by mechanical parts. And I think her arms got replaced in this one, and her eyes.
So I'm looking at cover art, and she doesn't look mechanical.
Well, her arm. She's not wearing anything there on her arms. That's her
I'll say.
That's not even that sexy.
Oh, you mean? Okay.
Her arm. That's what her arm looks like without a sleeve.
Well, there's art over here with less.
Well, yeah, I mean,
less of a sleeve.
Of course, some people are drawing her more sexy. It depends on the cover you buy.
Oh, okay.
Like this one, she's wearing a full outfit right there.
Yeah, okay.
And her arms are not covered, but they look mechanical.
So she's a cybernetic person.
Yeah, she's a cybernetic person. The first arc, the first 5, it's a limited series. It's kind of a mystery. Where did I come from? Who made me? She has no memory of how she became the way she is, and it's a mystery. They find another little cyborg girl, and they try to figure out what happened there. And it's really well written. It's like almost a Sherlock Holmes-ish on this the first series.
Okay.
And like I said, she's kind of like a freelance troubleshooter detective.
See, my first thought goes to like Ghost in the Shell. Obviously that's cyberpunk versus our steampunk.
Something I guess is very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
However, in the second series called The Tablets of Destiny, they change it up. She's more of an adventurous, and it's more very Indiana Jones-like, where she's fighting Nazis, and they're looking for the Tablets of Destiny, which apparently hold the secrets for some kind of secret weapon. And so of course, the Nazis are looking for it, and she's trying to stop them. Yes, this turned into pulp. I really liked it. Still beautiful art.
Is it historical in that, they say this is post-World War I, or is it just don't think too much about it and let's just go with it?
Essentially, don't think too much about it. Let's
okay,
go with it.
All right. We can do that.
Then they have a 2-issue limited series called The Lost Boys of West Abbey, where it's kind of another kind of detective kind of thing, where there's a bad guy like Moriarty trying to... There's little boys being kidnapped, and they're being turned into these little mechanical creatures, and there's bombs involved, and then she's got to stop them before, find out why is this guy doing it, stop him from blowing up the world or whatever.
Whoa.
And the next series I like is one of my favorites. It's called La Dama de la Muerte. This is more... I mean, the art in this one is my most favorite. She's wearing more like a Day of the Dead kind of skulls, the sugar skulls.
Okay.
Because she goes to Mexico. She winds up in Mexico anyway.
Tequila.
And there's a village there that's being attacked and terrorized by these banditos. And the banditos also have some kind of pact with some kind of demon as well, so there's a little bit of magic involved. Yes, and it's a revenge. This one's more of a Western revenge.
It's your favorite. It sounds just like the Three Amigos.
Except it's a little bit more serious than that. I love The Three Amigos. That's my favorite movie, my favorite comedy movie.
I know.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's not much so happy. The whole village. It's a revenge story where she has to go and avenge the village kind of thing. And it's like it's a Western. It's a revenge movie. They change it up. The stories they're not all the same. Like I said, one was like more like Indiana Jones.
So each one is fairly well encapsulated. You don't have to read them in order.
Exactly.
And you said there were 4 of them now?
There's 4 limited series.
4 series.
But they're different. Like this one's only a 3-issue limited series. The first one was 6 issues. The second one was 4.
Okay.
And the third one was like 2. Only 2 issues.
So real quick read, low commitment.
Exactly. But like I said, they're just really well done. It's very Victorian in their attitudes. Yes, she's a woman. Sometimes they react, oh, we are just a woman. But of course, she shows them because she's strong and independent kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
I just really enjoy the series. It's like I said, what really drew me in was the cover art. It's beautiful. And the interior art's just as pretty.
Is it full color pages?
Very full color pages.
Oh, nice.
And I highly recommend this series if you can find it. I think the guy is local, or he pretty close, because he's been to some of our smaller conventions here in Austin, the smaller comic book conventions.
Joe Benitez?
Yeah, but
that name sounds familiar.
So I just didn't want to I didn't want to give away too much. I don't want to do spoilers, which is why I'm being very vague.
Right, I understand. Same thing on my review. Yeah, cool.
It's just hard to gush about it without giving away spoilers, but I really, really enjoy this series. I really highly recommend it. I will definitely put links up to it, and I think some of them the first couple of limited series have been condensed into a trade paperback, so you can probably find those as well out there. So that's it for that. You have a news article that you're all gushing about and want to talk about.
I just wanted to bring this up, short article that I'm going to read. Some time ago, we talked about the Austin problems with mass transit.
Yep,
and
still happening.
The plan for maybe having a
gondola.
Yeah, gondola cars.
Which is never going to happen.
Over from South Lamar into downtown.
Right.
Which, you're right, it's never going to happen, but it sounded cool. So I got another one of those kind of crazy stories from KUT, which is Austin's national public radio station. Fast and Furious. Hyperloop hopes to cut travel time in Texas by Stephanie Federico. This was published April 7th, so not long ago. A proposal that could help you maintain your sanity on the 195-mile trip from Austin to Dallas was unveiled in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. Hyperloop Texas projects the trip would take less than 20 minutes traveling via electric propulsion in pods through low-pressure tubes. It was one of 11 teams to introduce...
through a tube.
Yeah. It was one of 11 teams to introduce proposals at a meeting of policymakers and transportation experts as part of the Hyperloop Global Challenge. Hyperloop One, a brainchild of Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk, envisions a new mode of high-speed transit for the price of a bus ticket. The Hyperloop would transport cargo and passengers through tubes at speeds of up to 760 miles per hour. The company introduced the challenge last May, calling for teams to compete to be considered for the first Hyperloop network.
That sounds fun. I've seen the same proposal in California as well.
Well, it's another really large state with a lot of people who are trying to move around.
Then I think I've also seen similar proposals for like just actual cross-country travel as well. Of course, there's people blocking it for different reasons,
Well, maybe part of it is that the whole thing sounds insane.
Yes. But I saw a short on TV. I saw somebody talking about it, and they're explaining the physics of it and everything like that. And it actually seemed very, very plausible, the way they were talking about it. The speeds and how they slow it down and speed it up and kind of thing like that. But,
I'm fascinated. I would love to be able to go from Austin to Dallas in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it would have saved my last trip. I would have not had to drive my car, and I could have just come home and sleep in my own bed and then get back on it and go back up to the convention in Dallas. That would have been cool.
They're showing a map here from Dallas to Austin to San Antonio to Laredo, and then San Antonio over to Houston. So, I mean, we wouldn't even need cars.
No, not really. We just have to use the different ride shares to get around once we get to the different cities.
That would be awesome.
Which is not a big deal, yeah.
Erika, would you be willing to throw yourself into a pod at 760 miles per hour to get to Dallas or San Antonio?
Considering how much time I've spent in my life stuck in traffic on I-35.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the constant construction on 35 in the Temple area. I don't want to go north anywhere.
And I don't understand how people get into accidents. We're all going in the same direction. We're going straight. How are you hitting other people?
We're all moving at 10 miles an hour. What did you do? So this is, I mean, this will probably never happen either, but it's very exciting to hear,
I'm
out of the box.
I'll do it. I want it.
Ideas.
We need this. Need it. It's also very Logan's Run. They had that kind of transportation to Logan's Run, but it was more of an inner city thing that they were doing. But they were getting these little pods and shoot through the tubes. That's pretty fun.
Yep.
So
I would do that.
You'd do that? I would do that too.
I'm for it too, yes.
We'd have to get dressed up, of course.
Of course, yes. So, we watched the movie just today.
Yes.
Apparently this movie is on a lot of steampunk movie lists.
It has, yes, I've seen it on the list. This is the first time I've seen it. It's an older movie.
It is a classic Terry Gilliam film.
Yeah.
As listeners, I wonder if you know what I'm talking about already. If you've looked for steampunk movies on lists, do you know, have you seen this movie? Have you seen Brazil?
Well, we just did. It wasn't the first time for Thax.
No, this is probably the third time I've seen this movie, and
this was my first
realizing time. You need to see this movie 3 times to
what?
Get what's going on.
I never want to see it again.
I
never.
love this movie.
I have PTSD from this movie.
So as you can see, Erika didn't like it.
No, it's horrible.
I'm confused about the movie.
So before we go forward,
did I just watch?
Let's just lay it out there.
Okay.
We're going to have spoilers. We're going to talk about the stuff that happens in this movie. If you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to get spoiled, skip over to upcoming events.
I'm of the opinion that even if we did spoil it, you still won't know what the hell's going on.
First, it's Terry Gilliam, and he has a way of laying out his movies where everything seems sort of disjointed.
Yes.
He doesn't explain everything.
Yes.
And the flow of the plot doesn't feel like you're not sure what the plot is, or if the part that you're watching is the plot.
Exactly. I don't know what the plot of this movie was.
It's very dreamlike.
There was dream sequences. There was was it the man falling in love with the woman of in his dreams?
Okay, so the main character, Sam, is a cog in the machine, a post-industrial bureaucracy. They spent quite a bit of time establishing that at the beginning of the movie, right?
Yes. It's all about the paperwork.
A bureaucracy gone mad, which is sort of what gets me into it. Admittedly, I don't know what that has to do with steampunk, but
kind of reminded me of 1984. Like kind of a really absurd take on the 1984 newspeak.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It also reminded me of a song by the Police. Actually, probably a few songs by the Police. Sting, Terry Gilliam, Sting, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Vogons.
A lot of bureaucracy.
They're all British, and they all have this sort of commonality. The British horror of bureaucracy gone mad. I'm fascinated because it's not something American culture sees as a great horror. I mean, this is a horror theme.
It's pretty scary. The bureaucracy is crazy.
I work at a bureaucracy. It scared me.
But the British view of it,
to them it looks like
British
it looks like order to them.
Bureaucratic oppression that has its own flavor that I don't think Americans would express in the same way.
Right.
And I'm fascinated by it, with all the tubes and the vents and the rules. And
that sci-fi movie that came out a few years ago, Jupiter Rising.
Yeah.
They had a scene in there where it was very bureaucratic. Fill out this paperwork, go to this place, get this stamp, do this, do that. And it was... The movie itself was terrible. I hated the movie. But that was a little amusing. Because she was supposed to have been some kind of princess, but she had to go through all this red tape and paperwork and everything to get it officialized and every kind of thing. It was crazy.
So the main character, Sam, is part of this bureaucracy. He's got his job and he does it well and he enjoys it, but he's also a dreamer, and cuts into two dream sequences where he is a hero, and it's very escapist.
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize it was a dream that I was watching when that was happening. It's like, what am I looking at now? Oh, okay, it's his dream.
This is his dream. And you're right. The movie goes from regular life to his dream sequences sort of smoothly enough that you're not sure what's going on until he misses his stop on the subway because he was dreaming a thing. And you sort of, as a watcher, you sort of dismiss it as, oh yeah, he's daydreaming and that's just a thing that he does.
But then gradually, as the movie progresses, he sort of dissociates from reality more and more.
Yes!
And it almost becomes like a hallucination.
Nightmare.
That's exactly right. And that's why I say you have to watch this movie 2 or 3 times, because by the end, he's totally disassociated with real life. And you realize he's disassociated way past when he actually stopped being in real life. You have to watch the movie again to say, well, is this still real?
Yeah.
When did it split? In his head?
Yeah.
And third time around, I think I know where it split.
Was it before or after he got the girl?
Before.
So he never
got the girl, that's when you know he's in his head. There's no reason for Jill Lytle to have any interest in him.
Right. But that happens in a lot of movies. There's no reason for the two couple to fall in love. It's because it's in the script. That's why they fell in love. That happens in a lot of movies I watch.
Bad movies? Okay. You recognize that he's going to break ties with sanity at some point. If I were to make a mark, it was that point when she started liking him.
So it's when she kicked him out of the truck is when he split.
When she kicked him out of the truck and he got arrested by the police and he's being dragged downtown. That's it. That's the end. And then he's still in and out. It's like the point where he's trying to save her and she likes him and they're having this romance. That's it. That's in his head. The part where he's again captured by information retrieval, which you learn by the end is
the Gestapo. The part of government that drags you downtown and interrogates you, tortures you to get information out of you. When he's in that room with with Michael Palin, who is apparently scary as hell. Monty Python, Michael Palin, scary. Cool. Yeah, I got that part when he was in the interrogation. That part right there was not real. Well, when the rescue happened, I got that part.
Right. That whole rescue and him started falling into nothing making sense anymore. Then he's way gone.
So it's been on a bunch of steampunk lists. I'm trying to figure out what made it steampunk. I mean, we have the 3 criteria that we have. Victorian times. It wasn't Victorian.
Not
times.
Victorian, although very British, but British. Not Victorian.
It looked
British.
to me very 40s, 20s, maybe with the fedoras and the trench coats. Very noir.
Yeah. There were times where the director, the way it was filmed, and the backlighting was beautiful noir.
And the music
shots.
even. Sometimes there's certain times where the music kicked in and the shadows and the lighting. Yeah, very noir.
It started playing saxophone.
Yeah, very noir. Yeah.
But his dream sequences he's got these mechanical wings, and that could be
he's flying. Yeah,
steampunk.
He's like steampunk Icarus.
Yeah.
And he's fighting the electric samurai.
Their general technology was antiquated, I guess. I mean, it looked like typewriters for their computers.
Yeah, it was sort of 1940s, 1950s, but there's an internet, there's a network.
Some kind of network, yeah.
A series of tubes.
And there's a series of tubes. Everything's very weird, which is what I like about it, but it's crazy and oppressive. Am I right with that?
Yeah, definitely. So
never want to
not
see
Victorian.
It again,
I guess some of the technology and the flying wings, his mechanical wings and everything, and the samurai. I guess that's close enough.
That was all
in his head.
Yeah,
in his head.
But I'm talking about the actual technology that they're using with the pneumatic tubes and the typewriter computers, and because I mean some of the stuff that I've seen online where it's like, hey, I made this computer look steampunk and it looks like an old typewriter kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then definitely kind of the dystopian, anti-authoritarian.
Yep, that's where the
message
establishment comes in. Yeah. So 2 out of 3.
It's probably the
barely
best,
2 out of 3.
The best
1.5 out of 3
non-Armageddon sort of dystopian world that I've seen.
So I mean, what are we going to call it? 1.5 out of 3?
I don't think it's steampunk.
You don't think it's steampunk?
I don't think it belongs on a steampunk list.
Even though it's on a lot of lists of these are the movies that are steampunk.
Yeah, it's very like I said. I'm confused about the movie. I know you say you have to watch it 2 or 3 times to understand it. I don't feel like sitting through it another 2 times either.
No,
I wouldn't watch it back to back. In like a year. You can come back and watch it again.
All right.
I had seen bits and pieces of this movie before, but it had never been able to hold my attention. And then I sat through the whole thing today, and seriously, I feel
fighting to stay awake. I
feel like I have taken a beating. Honestly, I feel sort of psychically bruised. I feel a little bit beat up by this movie. It was hard to watch. It was kind of distressing.
It's not the only Terry Gilliam film that we've watched that was difficult.
Right. He has a movie called Tideland that's about a little girl whose parents are drug addicts, and she kind of lives in a fantasy world, and her Barbie dolls talk to her, and she kind of goes down this Alice in Wonderland hole.
Not her Barbie dolls, just their heads.
And they have these crazy hillbilly neighbors that are the products of incest, and it's just horrors built upon horrors, but it's all filtered through this little child's innocence of not really understanding.
And it wasn't actually
how horrible.
Thailand, was it?
No, it's called Tideland.
Tideland. Sorry.
And so because the neighbor kid, or the retarded next door neighbor, he's not really a kid, but he's got a very childlike understanding of the world. I think he and the little girl are intellectually probably equal, but the young man is definitely much older than her, and he looks out at the rolling waves of prairie grass and thinks of it as an ocean, and he thinks that the train that goes through the field is a shark or something, and he's going to kill it and he's going to blow it up. Anyways, Thailand is another horrible movie from Terry Gilliam.
Not to put a
also not steampunk.
Very similar thematic, kind of the very subjective reality of the character. It doesn't really.
Thailand is so whacked out at the beginning of the movie. Terry Gilliam gets up in front of it's like a preface and apologizes for how fuck up this movie is going to be.
I don't think he's apologizing. I think he's just explaining.
He should apologize.
He's not apologizing. He's explaining the artistic
we're
vision.
way off topic here.
I think he probably needed to apologize for Brazil too. But it's distressing to get so far into someone else's head.
Like I said, Brazil, not my favorite movie.
Very distressing.
We are not calling it steampunk because it doesn't quite follow any of our criteria of steampunk rules or definitions that we made for ourselves here.
He is definitely a unique director.
I got one thing to say about Brazil. Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro was in this movie
as a ninja plumber.
That was kind of awesome. He was a good character.
Plumber, yeah. So Brazil, we don't call it steampunk.
No.
Under our definition of steampunk here.
I thought it was great, but I am alone in this.
It is at best a very weird noir.
It is weird.
Mind screwy thing.
I don't think I've seen a Terry Gilliam film that wasn't weird.
So, okay, enough of that. Let's go into something more interesting. How about some etiquette?
Oh, do we have time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite part of the show.
Alrighty then. Well, hang on.
We're going to talk about the etiquette of introductions.
Etiquette of introductions, yes.
Oh, good.
This could be important.
Yes. Let's start with the important stuff. It is not necessary to have an introduction in order to pay your respects to the President of the United States, excepting that of the Master of Ceremonies at the receptions. He will receive your card and present you. For a private interview, it is better to be introduced by a senator or member of the House of Representatives. In visiting foreign courts, introductions are more a matter of ceremony than in this country. If you wish to obtain an introduction to the Emperor of France, you must address your request to the Grand Chamberlain, which may be done personally or by letter. Your statement that you are an American citizen and a reference to the American consul will procure you an interview. Punctuality to the hour appointed for the interview is essential, and ladies present themselves in full dress. Gentlemen in a dress suit of black, white vest, gloves, and necktie. The ceremony of presentation will be explained before you are presented. In the English court, the ladies must be presented by a lady, gentlemen by a gentleman. Strangers must have credentials from the consul before they can be introduced.
They make it sound so easy.
Yes. I thought this was very interesting. If at a dinner or ball or upon any occasion you are introduced at a friend's house to one with whom you are not on good terms, though it be your bitterest enemy, etiquette requires you to salute him or her courteously and make no sign of resentment whilst under your friend's roof.
Well, that's just good manners. And why would you be introducing somebody if they're your enemy? You should already know who they are.
But you're at a party and you're expected to
Mingle?
play nice and mingle with the other guests. Don't make yourself a nuisance.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
I agree, especially if it's the president. Whoops.
Well, I'm going to write my letter to France. I need to declare myself as a U.S. citizen, of course, and
then you can meet the Emperor of France.
I want to, find the American embassy and get one of those letters that says I have credentials as a citizen. I just want to have that all the time in my back pocket or something.
Carried around with you. Go knocking at the door of Buckingham Palace. Hello.
I have my credentials.
I would like to have a private interview with the Queen.
I'm an American citizen. I am entitled.
Perhaps you should bring a gift or something. It doesn't mention that, but...
No. I think in this context, gifts are probably sort of vulgar. You present your card,
Oh, yes.
and that's it.
Well, the only,
What if it's at a party?
then why are you going to take the gift? Why would you take a gift to a party?
No,
I always take a gift to a party.
Well,
there's
if it's a birthday party, you give the gift to the
Right.
person it's for.
There is a section of Frost etiquette that talks about giving gifts.
Oh, okay.
And
Take care of that next time.
I'll look it up for next time. But I seem to recall that if you do bring gifts, it's only for the children of the household.
That makes sense.
Here, kids, here's some scotch.
Well, but it's just to be assumed that your host or hostess has all of the material items to which he or she wishes, and that it's sort of insulting to say that here's
Have a
some
toaster,
charity.
yeah.
Here's some charity because I know that you're a poor person or whatever. So it's I think etiquette was kind of different back then. I mean, now it's pretty common to bring like a hostess gift when you come to a
It's usually
party. You
something
bring a
like
bottle of wine,
Yeah,
or you
that's-
bring
that's not really a gift per se. That's something for all to enjoy.
Well, sure, but
But I am looking
you
forward
don't want to
to...
show up to a party empty-handed in this
Right.
day and age. It's kind of seen
Bring some
as
beer or bring some wine,
or bring some munchies or just whatever.
I am looking forward to the next presidential shindig, where I shall stomp across the White House lawn like you do and
get
request an audience with the president.
Well, apparently
Well, you should approach your congressman.
you need to speak with one of our senators, one of our wonderful Texas senators, or
I will.
or
Introduce me to the president.
I have their numbers.
my card.
or your
I want to do this.
I don't think it's quite the same anymore, unfortunately, as back in the day.
Challenge accepted.
I don't want to see you get arrested.
I don't want to meet any of those people. Honestly, if they turned up on my doorstep, I would not admit them. I'm sorry, sir. We have not made
no habla
acquaintance.
inglés. Nobody here.
No, don't say no habla inglés. They'll send ice to your house.
There'll be somebody else knocking on my door, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to let those people in either.
Well, I mean, according to George Lopez, Mexicans, we don't answer the door anyway. It's like, who ring the doorbell?
Neither should the upper crust. We have butlers for that.
Right. We have people to do that.
Well, that was fun. We're going to take a small break. We're going to listen to some music, and then we're going to go on with what coming up events. We'll be right back.
Murderers and thieves, reprehensible scoundrels doing anything they please. Though these villains are heartless and they show no remorse, out to the west is a hero on his giant iron horse. He rides valiantly through the desert, and he fights corruption everywhere. takes them down and rides off into the cold night. He hears the cries of the helpless and rushes in with force. Fiends may try, but they can't run from his massive iron horse. So when you think that you're done for and you haven't got a prayer, give a shout or a whistle and the horseman will be there. He rides valiantly through the deserts and he fights corruption everywhere. At night, in a blaze of glory, he comes into town and he takes them down and rides off into the cold night. Everything's going to be just fine. Your plight is soon to be removed. Tonight you can sleep with peace of mind. 'Cause he'll come along and he'll right the wrong that's been going on for years. He rides valiantly through the desert and he fights corruption everywhere. At night, in a blaze of glory, he goes into town and he takes them down. All the low-life scum will be on the run. He corrects their course on his iron horse, and then
That was The Cog is Dead, The Iron Horseman.
I liked it. That was a good one.
It was. It reminded me of several other groups, but I like the sound, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely put a link up to that.
So what's coming up?
Well, first off, April 14th, it is the Spring Steampunk Fling up in Dallas. I've talked about this before, but it's coming up quick. It is a steampunk culture at the Panopticon. It's an annual pre-Ren Fest party. It is in Dallas, Texas, 108 South Pearl Street, Dallas, Texas, the Panopticon. They have a special guest in the main room, DJ Red Vamp. They have a live performance by Darwin Prophet and the Cronus Mirror. And plus, lots of free tickets to Scarsdale Renaissance Festival and super cool Scarby swag. I'm not sure what all that's going to be, but there's going to be super cool swag. And of course, it says Steampunk Tire is highly encouraged. Hey, it's a Renfest Season 2, so do your best for Renfest. Once again, that is April 14th up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. What's next?
April 18th in the Austin area, we have our monthly third Tuesday meetup this month. It's Gears and Beers Steampunk Gaming Night. We haven't had one of these gaming nights, and I checked it. It's like 7 months.
Wow!
So we need to play some games.
I like the games.
We've gotten a few new ones between the two of us. I know.
Yes.
So it's a good time to bring your parlor games of skill, logic, and chance. If you have a card or board game you'd like to play, bring it out.
Doesn't have to be steampunk, but preferred.
That's right. If you have something you're developing and you want playtesters, that's cool. And we'll be talking about upcoming steampunk events, of course. And you are welcome to bring your friends from the Firefly fandom and Doctor Who and goth fans and just people who like to play games.
We all should get along.
Also, Sam Tyler, the incomparable Sam Tyler, is having a visit from Colorado, where she lives now. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be able to say hello to her and see what she's been up to. So that'll be awesome.
Yep,
Ears
that's-
and Beers, and that's at Sherlock's Baker Street Pub up on 183, of course.
Yes.
All right. And then on April 22nd, we've finally pinned down a date. We are going to go see Curios,
Yep.
Cabinet of Curiosities.
We even have our tickets already bought.
That's right. So this is a Cirque du Soleil show that's got a steampunk
Flair.
look to it. And we are going to road trip up on the 22nd and see the show and have a good time. And if anybody wants to come along, that would be great. Let's coordinate plans to
Meet
hang
up and
out.
have a good time.
Yeah. And one of our friends that's coming with us is actually a former Houston resident, so she knows where to go and what to do. There has been mention of free art museums that she knows about.
Cool.
And also a some sort of chocolate emporium.
Glittery, some sort of French for chocolate place.
And you know me and chocolate, so let's do this.
I saw a message last couple of days from our friend Nosmo, who we took a cruise with. He's been up in DC, and he said he saw this show, and it's fantastic.
Awesome.
Like we didn't know already, but
now
he
we have-
gives his thumbs up, so
Awesome.
we're gonna definitely
Awesome.
have a good time.
Cool.
So after that, on the
Wait a minute.
oh, there's
There's
more.
something
Sorry,
else
my
If
bad.
you can't make it out to Houston for
Curios.
here in Austin, the Alphabots is having a book reading at Art on 5th, which is on South Lamar.
Not on Fifth.
No. What a deceptive
it
name.
moved some few years
Yeah,
ago.
it used
but
to be on the 5th Street.
That's another story.
Yeah.
But it's between Kirby Lane Cafe and the Broken Spoke, 3005 South Lamar Boulevard. Art on 5th welcomes international street artist The Impossible Wintersborn for a preview of his new book, The Alphabots, a steampunk-inspired robotic journey through the alphabet. This event will feature never-before-seen works from The Impossible Winterborn, as well as very limited edition prints of his new book. Join us for reception Saturday, the 22nd, from 7 to 9 p.m., with the first ever book reading by the author at 8.
Cool. That sounds like something if we weren't going to Houston, I would go to.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to Houston, try checking this out. Looks like fun.
Okay, now tell us.
All right. And now for what sounds like a very great time, April 29th in Fluke. Well, where's it at?
It's Buda, right?
Buda. Yes, it's in Buda. It is the 2017 Buda Dash Hound races. We're going to a day of the races.
You mean Wiener Dogs, right?
Wiener Dog races. Yes, 2017 Buda Wiener Dog races, April 29th and the 30th, apparently, according to this.
All right.
So start making plans to attend. I think there's a I'm sorry, I'm stumbling. There's a charity involved, I believe, and they're going to be in the first and second tents that you see when you first walk in. They'll be in the bright tutus. But yeah, I mean, what can be more fun than watching Dash Hounds race? I mean, we're going to dress up in our finest. We're going to go check out the pedigrees.
Absolutely. Place a few side bets, you know.
Of course, yes. It just sounds like a great old time. It's hosted by the Texas Sweeties Dog Rescue. That's the charity.
Aw.
Awesome.
And actually, the Texas Sweeties Dog Rescue is based out of Pflugerville. That's what confused me. I saw Pflugerville written here on the screen here.
Gotcha.
So,
That is a little confusing.
but it's happening in Buda, Texas, 2017. Actually, I don't actually see an actual.
It doesn't have a location listed
Yeah,
in the
That's what's
event.
confusing.
But if we click on www.butalions.com, I bet it will tell us.
Yep, the Buda Lions Club presents the 20th. This is the 20th annual Buda Wiener Dog Races. I'm surprised it's taking me this long to go. It's been happening for 20 years, apparently.
I have been. It is a fantastic time. It's so much fun. Take a picnic, set up your viewing box, and enjoy a day of.
Yeah, apparently there's arts and crafts booths. There's a bake-off. There's cook-off rules. There's wiener dog. If you have a wiener dog and you want to enter, there's an application online here to get them entered. There's also a mixed breed wiener dog race. So there's purebreds and mixed breed. They're separate apparently.
Oh my goodness.
There's a pet parade application. Oh yeah, barbecue cook-off application. So there's gonna be barbecue there.
Is it Wiener Dog Barbecue?
No. Perish the thought.
There's
no.
Maybe just wieners.
There's a fajita
Wiener barbecue. I would.
fajita cook-off application. So there's gonna be fajitas there. There's gonna be a
Ooh.
lot of good food there. Sounds like.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. So let's see where it's going to be exactly. I'm still not seeing an address. This is really annoying.
We will figure it out. beforehand and post it on the Facebook.
Definitely, but
Yep.
it sounds like a good old time.
Buda is not a large town.
No, it's not.
I'm sure.
Buda City Park.
Okay, Buda City Park. We'll
It's not
find
a big
it.
town. It has one park.
I'm sure it'll be full of wiener dogs. You can't miss it.
No, there's signage. It's right there.
Awesome.
All right.
So after that, oh yeah,
that
there's one
wraps
more
up-
in May. We're gonna poke a little bit into May.
Right.
All right.
We're gonna have monster hunting.
Yes, our friend Cheryl is hosting a monster hunting expedition at the Texas State Capitol on May 6th.
It's the only state capital that we have
Right.
In Texas.
Yes. She says,
that I know of.
Well, we have some, apparently, according to Facebook, we have people out of Texas liking us. So I don't know if they're actually listening or not, but
all right, come
is
to
all
the
happening in
Texas State
Texas.
Capitol on May 6th. Fellow adventurers, it has come to our attention that monsters have infiltrated our Capitol building. We will need all hands at attention to remedy this situation. This is a Pokemon Go hunt at the State Capitol, in case that wasn't clear. We will meet at 7 p.m. Parking is free at the Capitol parking as long as you leave after 7 p.m. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means.
What? Okay.
Yeah, costumes are not required but encouraged. Please wear shoes that will not kill your feet with a lot of walking on concrete. Hope to see you there.
yes, we've been talking about doing something like this for a while. So she finally set it up. Good for you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes.
So put on your best
Hunting
hunting outfit and prepare for the Pokemon hunting.
I imagine it's probably not a good idea to bring any kind of gun-looking equipment.
No,
you know.
stay away from the sidearms, even if they are props, because
It's probably not a
it's
good
a
idea.
government building, and they're pretty sensitive.
Right.
Duh.
So just dress up and bring your phone for the Pokemon hunting.
Right.
And after that, down in Wimberley, we have...
Yes, the 2017 Wimberley Makers Fair. I didn't even know Wimberley had a maker community, but hey, here we go. Wimberley Stitch Studio is proud to offer the first Wimberley Maker Fair for artists to come and participate in an evening of fun on the beautiful studio grounds. This evening is to encourage the growth of Texas artists, crafters, growers, and musicians in a family-friendly environment. We will have live music, fun activities for the whole family, such as face painting, games, and more. And that's at Wimberley Stitch Studios at 704 Farm to Market Road, 2325 in Wimberley, Texas.
Cool. Any excuse to go to Wimberley. It's a great town.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Good people there. So that pretty much covers everything. I think we're done for another... We got another one in the can.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we need to... Anyone would like to add?
No, I think that's good.
Whether you like distorted dystopian dramas like Brazil, or you're more of a straight happy ending sort, we're glad you're listening to our show.
Yep.
And
be sure to find us on Facebook and give us a like if you haven't already.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know that we're reaching you.
Yes. I like having conversations with people. Send us messages, leave us comments, let us know if there's anything you know about that we haven't heard about.
We welcome constructive criticism.
Yes, constructive criticism. I don't want my feelings hurt. So
Aw.
be constructive. So I think that about covers it. And so,
All right. Until next time,
Mind your gauges. Thanks for listening. This has been the Texas Steampunk Connection. Opening music was The Texas Steer Rag by George Botsford, recorded in 1909.
Please like us on Facebook at Texas Steampunk Connection.
Where you will find the links to all the topics we talked about in this episode.
Until next time,
Mind your gauges.
This mic a little closer.
Well, I'm recording now, so just
Recording right now?
Yeah,
Right now? This very
this
now?
second. Yes, we're recording.
Hello.
All right, then.
We're recording now.
Yay!
How well is this picking up? I'm going to sit back here. Is it picking me up? Maybe I'll scoot in a little closer.
You can't handle me at my deedliest. You don't deserve me at my doodliest.